Hello, Gemini, and welcome to my channel, Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs, looking at your recent past, your current energy, and your immediate future. I have the overall energy for the reading that I've already pulled, just so we can jump right in. Then I have the tarot deck that I'll be using, already shuffled, as well as the decks that I'll be using in the extended. Any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading with me is in the description box below. All right, Gemini. Got dog hair all over me. In your recent past, you have detoxify with the Seven of Cups. So you guys have been going through a pretty emotional time. I feel like feeling very uncertain about potentially what you want, like what you want out of life, and not even just uncertain, but starting to feel overwhelmed. Like, is this going to happen? Am I going to get there? Am I going to get to where I'm trying to go? Like whatever it is that resonates with you. But your recent past was almost like you were working through, and this whole reading feels like working through the fears that you actually have about getting what you want. Us as human beings, we're kind of funny. We're actually more afraid of what we want. Um, and then we realize, and that's literally what you have, is let your fears dissolve in your current energy with the Nine of Pentacles. It's almost like you're working through your fear around what it is you're wanting, what you're wanting to manifest or create, or um, whatever the case is, have. I feel like this is, the overall energy for this reading is spiritual cleansing and veiled. So it feels as if there are a lot of fears that maybe you didn't realize you have being brought to the surface. Now, it's possibly being brought to the surface through a specific situation, but the situation that's happening, I feel like, is allowing you to, it's like, yeah, like a detox, like a spiritual detox kind of thing. In your immediate future, you have unleashed your kindest self with the Seven of Wands in reverse. This just feels to me like love yourself more than you doubt yourself. Love yourself more than you doubt yourself. Be kind to yourself more than you're unsure of yourself. Like, really, truly try to step into this energy of, yes, I'm afraid, yes, I'm uncertain, but I also know that the universe has my back and I'm headed, in the right direction. Whatever it is that resonates with you. But let's get some specifics here. Let's start with Gemini's. Ooh. Gemini's recent past, please. Clarifying detoxify with the Seven of Cups. Gemini's recent past. This is recent past for Gemini. Oof. There's some sort of perspective shift that's needed, because this is about things. I feel like you've consistently experienced a lot of loss, possibly with the people around you, friendships, relationships, things of that nature. It doesn't necessarily have to be about people. It could just be in general. I don't know. I feel like it is. I feel like it's a lot of loss when it comes to people that you've considered, close personal relationships. But there's some sort of perspective shift that's needed, because then you have the Lovers in reverse. There's this energy of not, like, somewhere within you. Because remember, 95% of our movements, choices, decisions, actions, reactions, beliefs about our reality is actually subconscious. Only 5% of our response to our reality is conscious. And so this is really about diving into that 95%. And right now, with the Lovers in reverse, there's this feeling of not being deserving. And that feeling of not being deserving has caused you to have to experience a lot of loss when it comes to relationships. Because, people talk about manifestation. That's a big word these days, manifestation. Well, you're always manifesting. Whether or not you're consciously involved in that process or not is beside the point. And in that 95% of you, your limiting beliefs, your uncertainties, your fears, those do manifest into your reality. Now, that's not saying that the reality that you've created is your fault. The experiences that you've had, it doesn't mean that those are your fault, but it does mean that it's your responsibility to dive into what part of you happens to create a lot of these situations for yourself. And honestly, I feel like this has a lot to do with not seeing your worth as much um as much as you need to. But it's also interesting because it feels like maybe you had to go through the loss of situations that actually didn't align with your worth to be able to open the door for situations that do. But let's see. Recent past for Gemini. Actually, well, it's too late now. I didn't want to take that Lovers in Reverse card because I feel like it's going to be used. Current or recent past for Gemini. Ooh, okay. Okay, that's too many. Try that again. Recent past for Gemini. Clear, concise messages for Gemini's recent past. Yeah, there. You know what I was thinking as I was like, if the Lovers in Reverse card is taken, I'm sure that the Empress in Reverse will come out. That's funny. I should have said that out loud. I love when that happens. Okay, so there's the Nine of Pentacles. Same as right there. See, you've experienced a lot of separation, a lot of like loss of love, loss of emotional security. And this Empress in Reverse to me is the same energy as this Lovers in Reverse. Like but it just kind of feels like there's this energy of it's about what's behind this, because there's the fear. There's the fear. What's underneath the moon? The Magician. Okay, I think I'm starting to understand what's happening here. Okay, let me get more on this message, though I think I've got it. Yep, okay. So you have a tendency, this is Four of Wands in reverse with the Eight of Swords in reverse. And then you have the Two of Cups in reverse and Nine of Pentacles and Moon. I don't know if I said all that. You have a tendency to invest in people that don't really fit what you're looking for. Like they don't, it's almost like, well, they fit some boxes, but they don't really check others. They might be really good to me, like emotionally or materially, but they're not so good to me emotionally, or whatever the case is. You've had a tendency to settle. And the reason that you've done that is because there's this fear that what you're actually wanting, that the kind of relationships that you're actually wanting aren't possible. And so you have a tendency to settle for ones that, quite honestly, don't see your worth. And that's a limiting belief. I mean, this Eight of Swords right here, this is literally talking about those limiting beliefs that lives in that 95% of you. I want to take this. Nope. We're going to do this. I'm trying to figure out which ones I might want to keep in there so that they can come out to clarify. Yeah, because there's the Ten of Swords. I wish I would have pulled that, because to me, this feels like you get into situations with people that you it's like you already kind of know how it's going to turn out, but you hope that either they're going to change or like the situation will change over time. It's like you drop your boundaries. You let people overstep your boundaries, and then it's almost like this betrayal that you experience. It's like you always have seen it coming, but it's because of it's because of the type of people you're investing in. And this isn't, usually my relationships aren't always, or my readings aren't always about relationships, but that's definitely coming out in this one. Recent past, there's a Two of Swords with the King of Pentacles. And then the King of Cups in reverse. Who is this King of Pentacles? Because this isn't your energy. Clarifying this King of Pentacles. So you could be dealing, okay. You could be dealing with an earth sign, or a water sign, but I feel like this is King of Pentacles is kind of the focus here. There's this like, almost like this indecision about someone that actually didn't treat you very well, with the King of Cups in reverse. But maybe they provided you with stability, material stability. Meaning, I mean, to take it to the most basic level, sure, you were with someone that didn't treat you very well, but at least you weren't alone. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that's exactly what it was, but it could be like you're with someone who doesn't treat you very well, but they provide for you financially or something like that. So you feel kind of trapped. Either way, this feels like there's unfinished business with this King of Pentacles, not in the sense of you guys have unfinished business within like this King of Pentacles. I don't know. It doesn't need to be an earth sign. It doesn't need to be a Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. It just feels like this King of Pentacles is like almost like your source of stability. And so it's been hard for you to break away from this. Yeah. Okay, so there's like an attachment to this almost. I want that one still. But it's not, it's less about the person. All right, let me get current energy for Gemini here. Clarifying, let your fears dissolve in the Nine of Pentacles. Because it feels like, oh, this Nine of Pentacles could be talking about financial independence too. Doesn't have to be, but current energy for Gemini. Clarifying Gemini's current energy. There's a Ten of Wands. So you've been carrying some sort of burden here. The Chariot, and there's the Justice in reverse, and then the Judgment. And there's that Devil that I saw earlier. What is this burden that Gemini's been carrying? What is this burden that Gemini's been carrying? Huh. Expectations, unrealistic expectations. Okay, so that is what this is. It's almost like you have unrealistic expectations about the people that you tend to invest your time and energy into. And specifically, I feel like this is talking about one person. And when I talk about unrealistic expectations, that does not, nor will it ever mean that the outcome that you're wanting in relationships in your financial world, it does not mean that the outcome is unrealistic. It means that the specifics of how you're trying to get there, you're a little bit lost on, meaning you're saying, I want to feel emotionally supported. I want to feel like I'm in a relationship with a person that values me, sees my worth, but I want it to be this person. And the universe is kind of saying, well, you can't have both, because this one person, it doesn't feel like they're capable of that. One of the best things my therapist ever taught me was when we take other people's emotional unintelligence or shortcomings or whatever it is that they're not able to provide us, when we take those personally, we're kind of getting lost in the point, because the point isn't that they're not, it's not that someone isn't showing you love or isn't showing up for you because they don't, it's just you. It's that that person probably doesn't know how to do that for anybody in their life. And they're not capable of it. And so expecting somebody to be something for you that they just straight up can't isn't fair to you. And it's honestly not really fair to them either. I mean, at the end of the day, like, people are going to be who people are going to be, and we've got to either say that works for me or that doesn't, and kind of learn to like walk away or not when things don't fit with us. But overall, the reason that you've had a tendency to stay attached to people that don't serve you is because you fear that you will never find the people that do align with you. And that, I mean, yeah, look at that. there's the Temperance in reverse, and then there's that Nine of Pentacles. This is not like, it's that typical story of like, I'd rather be with this person than be alone, right? Even though this person doesn't really make me happy, type of thing. Current energy for Gemini. So that's the burden you've been carrying. You've been carrying this person's burdens. You've been carrying the weight of what somebody, or multiple people even, it doesn't just have to be one person, it could be multiple people, aren't able to actually provide for you. So you could be a serious impact and you take on other people's stuff, and kind of forget about your own, because this feels like a need for boundaries. Current energy for Gemini. It is time. There's the Emperor, or the Empress, excuse me. And then there's that King of Cups in reverse again. It's time, Gemini, for you to reevaluate whether or not you are investing in situations and people that align with your worth. And if you are not, if you cannot answer that honestly, if you cannot say that the people that are surrounding you love you for who you are, not for what you provide, or how you look, or how you act, or what you're capable of, or how knowledgeable you are, no. If you can't honestly say that the people around you do not love you for who you are at your core, then those people don't deserve to be in your life. And that feels really scary, I feel like, when I say that to the Geminis that I'm speaking to, because I feel like you're like, but what if like your first jump is like, but if it's not them, and that right there, like if it's not them, it's not going to be anyone. That right there is what's keeping you lost. It's keeping you stuck. It's keeping you trapped in the belief that you are deserving of relationships that don't see your worth. And that's just not true. So there's some reevaluation that's needed here. Current energy for Gemini, please. This is a cycle. You have the World in reverse, so Temperance in reverse, and then that Nine of Pentacles again. So there's this, the universe is saying, hey, just because you haven't found what you're looking for yet does not mean that it's not coming. Don't trick yourself into believing that just because it hasn't appeared, just because you haven't gotten what you wanted, that it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. Because that within itself will keep you in settling. You'll settle if you say, well, if I need something right now, and the universe is like, well, we can give you exactly what you want, it's just going to take a little bit of time, and you're like, no, I need something right now. And that belief, that limiting belief, and that outlook on your life is keeping you settling for what doesn't serve you. And not just what doesn't serve you, what you don't deserve. You deserve more than what you've been investing in. But you have to work through your fear around that, right? And oftentimes we work through our fear around it whenever we're waiting for it to show up. That's why the manifestation process, especially if you're talking about a relationship or whatever the case is, that's why that process makes it look like it happens overnight, is because the majority of it's not that the actual relationship happens overnight or the career, takes off overnight. It's that the process to get there is inward. And then that inward world gets reflected without. I mean, that's the whole concept of the law of attraction. As above, so below, as within, so without. Whatever inner work we do, whatever our belief system says, is what we experience. So this is about working on your belief system, work on your fears around whether or not you're going to get to where you're going. Don't focus on the circumstance, because the circumstance, those are going to change and those don't really matter. It's more about the underlying that you're needing to take a little bit of a look at. Immediate future for Gemini, clarifying, unleash your kindest self with the Seven of Wands in reverse. Immediate future for Gemini, please. This is self-compassion. See, you're conflicted about starting some sort of new beginning. You're having a hard time letting go of the past, or of someone in particular. And I think that ultimately comes down, I want to clarify this Five of Wands, that comes down to the fact that you don't think you'll ever be able to receive anything better. clarifying the Five of Wands. But that's the tricky thing, right? Ace of Wands and the Ten of Cups. Okay. Couple of messages here. The tricky thing is that when we base what we want on what we've experienced, then we're limiting our potential because we're saying, well, I want this specific person because that's the best I've ever felt with anyone. That's the most in love I've ever been. That's the most secure I've ever felt, whatever the case is. You're not seeing that there might actually be better for you, but you don't see how that's possible because you have never experienced that before. And if a situation has been removed from your life, it's for a reason. But you're having a hard time seeing that. And a lot of this message is kind of telling me that, like, you're looking for this Ten of Cups. This has to do with your Ten of Cups. You're wanting this Ten of Cups. But you have to take action toward that. And your action has to be to either it's walking away from what doesn't serve you and toward what does. And that's hard to do, especially when you're not exactly sure if what you want is possible. But if whatever you want is possible, would you stay attached to your past? Probably not, because you know that what you're ultimately wanting is going to come to fruition. But you're struggling with the internal battle of if what if it never gets better than it was before? And that is the human dilemma right there, is our belief that the best is behind us, because it isn't. I mean, if we believe that, sure, we're going to experience that, but it isn't. Immediate future for Gemini, please. There's the Ace of Wands. Got that same exact message. Okay, so I don't think okay, I didn't clarify this. Okay, I didn't know if I needed to talk about this message, but since it came out literally again, I do. When you're talking, I mean, this is starting to turn into a romantic relationship reading, but do still try to take it as it resonates. When you're focused on, specifically when I'm talking about a connection, when you're focused on passion, meaning the physical aspect of things, the butterflies, those intense feelings, you're actually focused on the emotional chemical high that you receive at the beginning of something new. And when we experience not so great relationships, toxic relationships, we actually, that chemical is a lot more present because we never really get to the point of feeling secure. And so every time things, because in toxic relationships, or abusive relationships, emotionally or otherwise, there's that moment of eventually things come back together and you get to feel that high of a new relationship again. Now, eventually things change and they go back to being not so good. But then you're brought back to that high. When you're in a healthy relationship with the people that align with your soul, you don't feel that way. That emotional high, it wears off and you're left with this peaceful feeling. Because if you're living for those highs, then you're constantly living for the hope of it all. You're living for the hope that things are going to get better, the hope that things are going to change. You're not existing in peace, you're existing in chaos. I hope that makes sense. And so this is actually something I had to learn, was when I moved on from my not so great emotionally abusive relationship, after a couple years of being stuck on it, I had to realize that my belief that it was the best I ever had really actually came from the trauma bond. It didn't actually come from a place of reality. And so once I was able to kind of heal from that and let go, I was able to attract my current partner, and our relationship is unlike anything I've ever experienced because it's calm. It's peaceful. I don't get the butterflies. I don't have the anxiety of, is he going to call me? Is he going to text me? I just know. I know he's going to be there for me. I know that if I called him at 3, I mean, we live together, but if I needed him at 3 o'clock in the morning for whatever reason, he would be there. He does what he says he's going to do. Like he's always, present. And so that anxious, high attachment, fear-based mentality about the relationship, it's not there anymore. And I will admit, it's not as exciting. But the excitement isn't the point of these healthy relationships. And so that's what I feel like you're focused on here. Is you're focused on kind of the excitement that this relationship used to provide you, or this connection, or connections with other people too. You're not focused on the peace that comes with secure attachment. I don't know why I kind of felt, I mean, I did because it came out. I just didn't know if I should go down that whole rabbit hole. Because, oftentimes the things that we actually want, my current partner, it's now laughable for me to think back on that relationship that I used to think I want, because it's not at all what I want. It's what I thought I wanted because I was attached to it, because it was exciting. Not because it made me feel good about myself or my life or at peace or loved or supported or cared for, any of the things that we're ultimately looking for in relationships. And so that's, I feel like, what needs to be brought to the surface for you here is, are you afraid of what you really want out of a relationship because you don't think it's possible? So you attach to the hope of things. I hope this gets better. I hope things change. Even if they continuously prove to you that they're not going to. Immediate future for Gemini. I hope that resonated for someone out there. That was kind of and there it is. There's the perspective shift. The Five of Swords. This is this need to realize that the universe has your back, and the universe is always bringing you closer to what serves you and to what aligns with your soul and your heart, to what's ultimately going to make you happy. I'm a firm believer that relationships aren't supposed to make us happy. They're supposed to add to our happiness. The current relationship I'm in is beyond anything I ever expected, beyond anything I ever thought was even possible. And it's funny because I talk about a lot how a lot of our desires sometimes align with what we've experienced and not with what where we're actually trying to go. A lot of times that's because we don't think that what we want is possible. We don't think that there is a perfect person for us out there. Am I saying that my significant other is perfect? Absolutely not. I'm not either. But he is perfect for me. We work together very, very well. And I had to let go of the belief that the universe was never going to bring me this person in order for me to attract him. And so I I I I definitely understand what this whole reading is saying, because it is really talking about using the law of attraction and using your mentality, using your mindset, using your belief system to your advantage, and getting out of the fear-based mentality of what I actually deserve in love or in life or in finances in my career, isn't possible. I mean, you could take that story I just told about that significant other and apply it to any aspect of your life. We hold on to things because we hope they're going to change. Because and there's you can go deeper into it. I mean, I had a need to prove myself to others. I had a need to feel accepted and lovable by people that were emotionally unavailable. I had my own stuff I had to work on to really release that attachment. But when it, just kind of looking at the overall, this is a general reading kind of, energy. You have to learn that you don't have to hurt. You don't have to feel burdened by what you want. You're allowed to want what you want and be confident that you're going to attract it. So I hope that helped. I hope this reading resonated with someone out there. I feel like we got a little specific. We're going to hop on over to the extended. I'm going to clarify these messages and dive deeper into some advice, as well as pull an actual advice card for you guys at the end. Thank you so much, Gemini, as always, for the support of my channel. It means the absolute world to me. I hope that this reading, like I said, helped, and I wish you absolutely nothing but love and healing on your journey. Bye, Gemini.